We now move to our last discussion item, 17 REZ 14 Fenton Mixed Use Development Rezoning. Our Deputy Manager, Russ Overton, will present the item and Council may take action.
Good evening, Council. I'm wearing a couple of hats tonight, as you can tell. But it's my pleasure to introduce the Fenton case. It's an exciting time to be in Cary. It's especially exciting to see all that's going on in our Eastern Cary Gateway, whether that's the IKEA project that was recently approved, the Mall Phase 2 that is currently in review, or the Fenton project that's before you tonight. There are three things that you need to know about this project. The first is that this is a community-defining project. It's on a large greenfield site at a key location in town and a gateway to our town. And it's another spark that will, I'm sure, jumpstart the rest of this area. Number two, there has been an extensive consideration process spanning 32 months with numerous opportunities for public input. The project has really evolved over this time, and we've had over 100 meetings with the applicant's team. And staff from every department has been involved in this rezoning case. And I just want to say that again, staff from every department has been involved in this case. Oops. And lastly, this project fulfills our vision for Imagine Cary and the Eastern Cary Gateway, a vision that was an entire community effort that will guide development and one that will ensure we remain great well into the future. So let's take a quick recap of the journey to this point. It's hard to believe, but it all started back in 2015, the summer of 2015. And a lot of iterations of this plan, we've come a long way since then, and on your screen is that original plan that came in, which actually included an IKEA on it for the beginning. But that all changed in December of 2016 with the adoption of Eastern Cary Gateway. And in 2017, with the adoption of our Imagine Cary Community Plan, which, by the way, had its one-year birthday party yesterday, and staff celebrated with cake.
Nice. Yeah.
So just in the last year, we've had so many things happen with this project. We've had a site visit to Atlanta. We've had 3 public hearings. We've had 2 work sessions with council, and it's been a fantastic process to this point. It's no accident how we got to this point tonight. And while visiting the Avalon, you may recall that you heard from developers that talked about their secret sauce to success. Well, in Cary, I believe that we have our own secret sauce. And that's our people, our staff, our council, and our citizens, plus our vision. And with those things, we are truly doing great work.
Thank you.
So Mayor and Council, that brings us to tonight's rezoning discussion. And with that, I'll now turn it over to Mr. Rob Wilson to walk you through this request.
Good evening, Council. As you know, the applicant is proposing to rezone approximately 92 acres on the north side of Carytown Boulevard. The site's currently zoned office institutional with a strip of resource recreation along the western property line, and this zoning has been in place since 1984. The proposed zoning is Mixed Use District, or MXD. A required component of this district is the preparation and submittal of a preliminary development plan, or PDP. So what does the community plan call for in this location? Well, this area is the center of the Eastern Cary Gateway, and it is designated as a high-density mixed-use employment center. So office, commercial, and residential uses are all envisioned, along with vertical mixing of these uses, as well as integrated gathering spaces and structured parking, all designed to create a visually appealing experience. So what does Fenton include? The short answer is a full mix of uses. If the project builds out to the proposed maximum amount of development, it would have the office space equivalent to 5 MetLife buildings. The number of dwellings would be similar to the total number in the Silverton or Oxford Hunt planned unit developments, and retail space would be just shy of the amount of floor area in almost 2 Waverly Places. There are also multiple community gathering areas and parking structures integrated throughout the project. As part of the proposed MXD zoning, the applicant has offered approximately 100 zoning conditions with the preliminary development plan, which are essential to making sure that the applicant's vision is achieved. It's important to note that the PDP has been revised since you last discussed this proposal at your December work session. Purple areas have been added. These are areas where the vertical mixing of uses is required. Although there are many other places on the plan where vertical mixing of uses could occur, the applicant has committed that this will be the case for the buildings fronting on the main street. The PDP also regulates the amount of development that can be built on the site. Minimums and maximums are provided for each type of land use. In this case, there are also limits on the number of large tenants, and no traditional drive-throughs are allowed. The applicant has also revised the conditions regarding phasing since the Council's December work session. The conditions continue to require that non-retail and vertically mixed uses are present from the very beginning of the project. After the first phase, the conditions also require every subsequent phase to include more non-retail space than retail space. This means that after the first phase, the overall amount of non-retail will quickly catch up to and surpass the amount of retail, providing both the envisioned mix of uses and the desired vertical mixing of these uses. To ensure that the town receives the level of design that has been represented for the development, the developer has also offered a design guidebook as a zoning condition. The purpose of the guidebook is to make a commitment to a higher level of quality and greater caliber of design than would be required by the town's existing architectural standards. A significant amount of additional detail has been added to this guidebook since the Council's December work session in order to make sure that this zoning condition properly addresses the envisioned quality and caliber of the project. One of the other zoning conditions that the developer has proposed is to enter into a development agreement with the town. Accordingly, the developer has offered a condition stating that the zoning cannot be implemented and that no development plan can be submitted until a development agreement has been approved by the council. As the project moves forward, all development would have to be compliant with both the rezoning and the development agreement in order to proceed. A key factor with any rezoning is whether or not it is consistent with the Imagine Cary Community Plan, and in this case, with the vision for the Eastern Cary Gateway Special Planning Area. After 2.5 years of collaborative dialogue with the applicant, a year after the adoption of the Eastern Cary Gateway Special Planning Area and the Imagine Cary Plan, after countless meetings and months of extensive review by a multidisciplinary staff team, and after significant refinement of the proposed preliminary development plan and its associated zoning conditions, staff believes that the proposal reflects the desired land uses and mix of uses for this site, the intended intensity for this area, and the envisioned high quality of design for the Gateway site. Accordingly, staff recommends approval of the rezoning based on consistency with the vision for the site as identified in the town's Imagine Cary Community Plan and the Eastern Cary Gateway Special Planning Area. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mark Evangelista, who is the chair of the town's Planning and Zoning Board, to give the board's recommendation on this proposal.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. This was approved by Planning and Zoning Board unanimously, so normally I'm not here to talk about a unanimous decision, but in this case, since it's of this magnitude, we're here to tell you just what everybody liked about it, and I'm glad we get to do that because there's some different things with this one. First of all, everyone on the board thought it fulfilled the elements of the Cary Community Plan and the Eastern Cary Gateway. Nothing was left lacking. Everything it appeared was taken care of and then some in those visions. Of specific note were community gathering space and the vertical mixed use looked really good to quite a few of us, and we were quite happy to see that. Traffic for a project of this magnitude and this long scope is very fluid. It's dynamic. Things can be going back and forth. There was a little concern about something of this magnitude, why you just don't do all the mitigations recommended in the traffic study. They're not that big when you consider the scope of the entire project. That said, the development agreement, while that's new to us, we thought that's probably the best idea going for being dynamic and adjusting some of these traffic issues as we go forward, because we don't know what's going to be going on even the next year or two down the road traffic-wise. So this development agreement, while new, was very promising. So we think traffic might be addressed a little bit in that area. We're just not sure how, but we have hope. And then finally, there were some, if there is any negativity and any folks who had some problems. It was just that affordable housing and some of the age restrictions weren't quite as fleshed out in this phase as perhaps they should be in every phase. When you talk about these things, affordable housing and age restrictions in the concept of the entire project, and you say, well, that will be for other phases. For something this big, it should be a consideration in every phase. But that was not enough for any member to be opposed to this project at all. It was just if they had to figure something that they thought could have been done a little better, that was it. But on the whole, strong recommendations from every one of us.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Evangelista?
No.
Good report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So Council, you've heard tonight how this project is a special project that has had an extensive process and meets the vision for the area. And while the rezoning case or phase comes to a close, there's still a lot of work to be done. The development agreement team is still working and will bring an agreement back to a public hearing shortly. It's been my pleasure working with our entire staff as well as the developers team on this project, and on behalf of the entire team, we'll turn it back over to you, Council, for discussion.
Comments? Questions?
I'll go ahead and kick it off. First and foremost, thank you to staff. Thank you to everyone in all departments for all your work on this. This has been no easy task, we know. I think you all may have enjoyed a lot of it. It's new and it's exciting. It's different. It's not your typical rezoning in Cary or stuff that we normally see. I think you said it best when you said it's a community-defining project. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. It's also a big deal considering what's going to happen across the street with the IKEA and the redevelopment of Cary Town Center Mall, and the swim club expansions and things that are going to happen in the future. This, you know, Cary's on the map, but this puts a big red dot on the map now. But I also want to thank the Columbia Development Team for your patience and your perseverance. Yeah, I remember the first time I met some of y'all came by the shop to talk to me and asked about what my vision for this area was, and you know, I said it was a destination. And then afterwards I learned first it was a grocery store. And I was kind of like, okay. But 2.5 years later, here we are. It's a lot more than a grocery store. It's a lot more than retail. It's a lot more than residential. It's a lot more than office. It's a lot more than hotels. This is an experience, and it will be hard to keep my wife away when it's done. So if I come out with my hand out for money, you know why. I also want to thank staff for all the work on the Eastern Gateway. You know, it's not just this project alone, but that component of the Cary Community Plan as a whole. You know, it was basically, we were going through this whole Cary Community Plan process and then had to like stop and focus on that Eastern Gateway component, and we had to do it fast. And y'all did one heck of a job on it. So I love what I see in the design guidebook. I really do. You know, you put up some really nice pictures of things in Cary, but when you look in that guidebook, it's like, wow. I mean, it's impressive. I really appreciate the effort to address at least the concerns I have. I think others did as well as far as the phasing of the project. I think that gives us the assurances that what we're looking for in regarding the vertically mixed uses and that Main Street and that experiential project that we're looking for. So, and then the developer agreement that will soon be worked out that definitely lays out responsibilities between, you know, the town and the developer and so on. I'm excited. I mean, you know, part of me can't wait for this to happen, and part of me hope my wife never finds it. But I'm gonna live less than a mile from it, so it's awesome. This is amazing. It's a great time to be Cary. So thank you all.
Other comments, questions?
I'll just say really fast, I think a lot of credit is due to all of the council members as well, because originally the proposal, before there was a Columbia, there was a proposal for single family homes here. And the council stuck by a vision for something that was bigger, and this is in line with what we were envisioning. So it took a series of very hard no's to get us to this yes. So anyway, I think that's huge.
Other comments, questions?
Well, I'm very excited because I'm not going to repeat anything that you said, but I'm very excited about the opportunity for us to create something bigger than I think I could have even imagined at the time. Even though I've been to Santana Row, we've been to Avalon, we've been to all these places, I think this is going to be better than those. It better be better than those. And those are pretty good, right? I mean, those are pretty good. I mean, I think, you know, just thinking big, I think that there is a place for everyone in Cary to feel like they own part of Fenton, right? That the office workers who will come to these office locations will feel a part of Fenton. The people who come to the grocery store will feel a part of Fenton. That, you know, the people who work there and go shop there, including your wife, will feel a part of Fenton. And, you know, hopefully, I hope we take into consideration the people who are going to work there and take into consideration what the Planning and Zoning Board said, that, you know, maybe we need to find affordable housing. You know, we've got a lot going on with smart cities. This could be an amazing smart city implementation because it's greenfield, right? So I hope you guys are open, because so far that's all you've been is open, which we really appreciate, open to all of these great new ideas. And we hope that you start to bring people to Cary when it's built, like you brought us to Avalon. And I really look forward to seeing this develop.
Any concerns that I may have had along the way, and there have been some, they pale by comparison to the benefits that this is going to bring to the town of Cary and the Cary citizens. So they're not even worth mentioning tonight. I want to thank Columbia Development, that's in the extended team. It's just the beginning. It sounds like it's over by us doing this. It's just starting.
The meetings are over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, actually, we have a developer agreement.
The developer agreement is going to be a huge endeavor. It's a huge lift.
And to our staff, I mean, to present us with something that we can vote for with pride is wonderful. So we thank you for that.
Please.
I would tag on to what Ms. Bush said. I think that not just smart cities, but solar and everything that we possibly can do on this site to be just the absolute best thing, it's just a feather in our cap for Cary. I think it's going to make a statement, and I really appreciate that. And I just have one question that the community's been asking me for a while, and it's not when's the Wegmans coming, maybe somebody on staff knows, maybe we'd have to find Jeff Ulmer or Tim Bailey, but I wanted to know who paved that road to nowhere that's been there all these years.
Town.
We paved it? Okay. I never found an answer, but I'll let the community know we paved the road to nowhere.
It was my project. Years ago. But we paved it because at the time we got a break in control of access there, because we knew we wanted a road and we knew we wanted Trinity to go somewhere. So we just kind of took that initiative to work with the state before their criteria changed, whereby we may not have gotten a break in control of access.
So thank you for your vision and your
And it was
foresight.
other people as well,
Thank you.
but we got that done years in advance.
That just shows
Way to
what a
go,
great
staff.
staff we got. Yeah, that's great.
We do have great staff.
Mr. Smith?
Most of it has been said. I'm not going to repeat it, but I did get a kick out of listening to you, Don. You know, when they came to me and they said, "Well, what do you want?" And the only thing I could think of is, well, definitely not what you're showing me. So when you think back at that very beginning, and the ability to try to harness all of us and our ideas, and even the challenge we had of having that big vision, you know, it was a credit to them that didn't turn into anything adversarial or negative. It was one of those things where, well, okay, that's not what you want, but then, you know, share a little bit more. So I really applaud, you know, the team, the Columbia team, for their patience, their willingness to listen, and you've heard the appetite of all of us up here, and we have a lot of different visions for that area, and to work with that. And then on top of that, you know, having the foresight to work with our staff, who kind of know us probably a little bit better than you do, and work with them to try to come up with this. So this is really one of those products where all the pieces, we all had little components of those pieces, but it really takes a lot of work from an applicant to put all that together, kind of get the gist of it, and work with us and actually read our community plan, work through that and understand what makes Cary tick. And so, I'm excited about that too. I think we got a lot of work ahead of us with that agreement. But, the one thing that I always worry about is we have cases all the time where, we approve what we approve isn't what we end up with. It isn't what we get. And that's, we've all been burned by that over the years. And I think this is a case where you've heard that concern, and through the use of the agreement that you've stepped up and volunteered to work with us on, I think we minimize that type of activity happening. And, so I'm excited also to go forward. I appreciate and applaud all the work that's happened to date, and I think it is an exciting time as we move forward.
And the only thing I would add, since everything's been said, is to go from, the first reaction to, when this is done and we look back on this is the transformative period, I said this yesterday, in Cary's history, this will be a huge milestone. So you went from, we're unimpressed, to that is very impressive. And I can tell you from sitting in this seat, especially if you sat here a long time like Jack and Jennifer and I, when you go around town and you see developments you've approved or voted against, you're either proud or not so proud. And I'm looking forward to driving by this as hopefully not too old of a man and saying, I voted for that. That's something I was a part of. That's something that's really great, and that's what I expect to see. I think it will be fantastic and great.
Yeah, at my age, please.
Well, maybe we should make a motion since the time is ticking. So I'll make a motion to approve 17 REZ 14 and adopt the statement of consistency as attached to the staff report for this item.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's unanimous. Thank you for all you've done to get us to this point. We look forward to working with you.